say, like, he's got his focus on sacrifice. That's really what he's thinking about, and that's going to allow him to be even more carefree, and that's very scary because his abilities are very often praised, and again, he is considered to be one of the best TDMers that we've had in the last decade overall, that his fighting abilities are very hard to match, so Pikawa has to deal with that, and that's not the only issue with Noctis, because Noctis, it doesn't stop there. He's a very intelligent player as well. And I love this. It's very fitting. We start on Blood Covenant.
Classic map. A little reworked, but still a classic.
Absolutely. And right now we can see that Noctis is going to be opting to start with Sorlag. He's going to be up against the Doom Guy. This will be a really interesting sort of fight between the two. Noctis looking for some information at the moment. He knows that his opponent doesn't have the LG yet, so he set a trap around it. You see Pikawa's staying on the high ground, and he's not going for the LG at all. So Pikawa's actually done really well here. This is his experience really shining through.
Yeah, and I always like looking at the cat and mouse early on, because if they're trying to pick up those sound cues, you can tell Pikawa knows Noctis on the other side doesn't have a rocket launcher. He wants to kind of, set a trap there. It's actually a very common strategy to set a trap early for the rocket launcher because it's such a valuable weapon. Great shooting, great shooting.
Yeah, and it's also, for me, from like a philosophy perspective, I love that Pikawa's taking this idea that I'm not going to go for a risk unless I get the info as to where Noctis is first, which some players would. They would try to maybe approach the room safely, but that doesn't detract from the fact that Noctis has set up a trap. So I like that Pikawa is trying to play this intelligently, especially right off the bat. You want to keep the pace slow and feel it out, and we can see that's happening right now, and it's just a case of slowly avoiding those traps, getting those guns to set themselves up for some fights here.
Yeah, at this level, you don't want to play too fast. You get too fast, so it's a good fight here. It's kind of exposed. You don't want to be stuck on pillars sitting like that. Yep, hitting those rails. But yeah, you want to play. You got to slow it down a little bit. If you play too fast, these guys they're gonna read you. They're gonna predict you. They're gonna listen for those sound cues. So at this level, it's important to really listen and try to predict your opponent.
And that's a great timing there from the rocket jump for Noctis, just barely getting a perfect engagement with that lightning gun. You can see Pikawa down to 44 here, having to berserk defensively, and that's never really what you want to be using the berserk for. Obviously, it's essentially a panic button press as opposed to the ability to really use it to finish off your opponent. So a big window here for a finish from Noctis. He knows he's starved out his opponent. The damage keeps raining in, and he'll keep the pressure on there with the LG, and that's the finish finally. And that's a good sign, getting rid of that Doom guy straight away.
Yeah, good start by Noctis. Knew his opponent was low and just went in for the lightning gun kill. Just kept the pressure on him. He's going to definitely move in for a kill now. He knows he's weak. Right off the spawn with the rail.
Yeah, Slash doesn't have a huge amount of health. Slash gets dangerous once Slash is safe, when Slash has all the sort of armors and weapons to play with, but that's sort of the question right now. How well can Noctis sort of read his opponent? And obviously Slash has great maneuverability, but Sorlag is not too shabby as well. Nice combo, defensive on the jump pad. However, Pikawa will be able to escape, but maybe not. Just sliding straight back into Noctis. He'll love that one.
Yeah, Noctis just cut him off, kept that angle. I think maybe Pikawa expected him to go straight for the heavy armor, and that's why he circled back around, and Noctis made a nice read and was there waiting for him.
So I like this pace from Noctis at the moment. He looks very solid.
Yeah,
right now.
Very consistent, in control. Just the mouse. I always look at how people are moving their mouse around and stuff because I can pick up a little nervousness, and he just looks really calm and in his element right now.
And it's working really well. However, he was not able to see Pikawa there. The Ghost Walk, of course, coming in. However, the fight over the heavy will go to Noctis as he picks it up mid-fight, and that's going to be the end of the Nyx. Just caught out in the open, exposed, and I mean, we saw Pikawa playing it smarter initially, but Noctis, he was playing it smart as well. As soon as he got into a slight advantage, that Sorlag became a really big issue because he's controlling all the big items, he used the rocket jump to get into position, and Pikawa could just never really push him off.
Yeah, and you could see there at the end, even though, I mean, he grabbed the heavy armor while fighting, but you could just see the time to kill on a stacked Sorlag with the lightning gun is very long. It gives Noctis plenty of time to land his own shots. Ooh, great.
Yeah, beautiful infight there from Pikawa. You can see that he caught Noctis there in the open, and that's so much about what the fights can come down to here in Quake Champions. Just creating a situation where your opponent was unable to anticipate that particular fight, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh god, okay, what do I do from here? I wasn't expecting to be in this position. I don't have my escape option. Oh, I have to fight, and already you've taken a bunch of damage and you're already at a disadvantage. So it's working out really well at the moment here at the start, but Pikawa catches Noctis in exactly the same spot. This is beautiful from him.
Wow, very good play. Wow, he's really lighting him up now. As anybody who's played Quake, once you get pinned with that lightning gun, it really messes with your movement, and it pretty much forces you to fight unless you can somehow run around the corner, because it just moves you and pushes you so much. Yeah, you have to do something.
It's really rough to deal with, and it's going to be interesting to now see Noctis, playing the position of the low stack, a champion. Nyx, you have to use that Ghost Walk to surprise your opponent to try to get into good positions, to use it as a panic button as well.
And I like the adjustment by Pikawa. He just went straight to Nyx this time around, knowing that, hey, we got the Snorlax, so he's looking for that good ambush, and it's worked out great for him for the first 2 frags.
Yeah, that's that initial Ghost Walk, I wasn't sure, but you're absolutely right. Completely caught Noctis off guard. And look at how far Pikawa's gone with it. He's got the 2 champions down, although he is going to get railed pretty badly there. And that sometimes happens, you want to make the challenge, then you miss a rail, they hit 2, and it's like, oh God, I gave the opportunity to my opponent, thought it was for me, but in reality, now Pikawa is back on the, well, rather, he is on the back foot. He's working the extremities of the map here, trying to stack back up, but at least the Ghost Walk's up.
Yeah, but in terms of stack, he's not in great position right now, because the separation on the 2, the armor and the mega health right now are pretty substantial, so it allows Noctis to run the map fully. So he's going to have to do something, land some shots, get an ambush to try to get that away from Noctis and push him off of one of these items. So see, it's not going to help him very much right now.
Yeah, he needed that rail, didn't he?
Yeah.
He got 1, but the Mega was there for Noctis. Had Pikawa got that 2nd rail, then all of a sudden he's going to get the heavy. Noctis is out of position, then he can set himself up for the frag. But all of a sudden, instead, it is completely the opposite. Noctis is the one in that position, darting back here towards the Mega, the next big item to spawn as he looks for Pikawa. Down by the pillars, collecting those time shards. And Noctis is in a great spot.
Yeah, for now, but the time's not in his favor, so he's got to make a move here. Pikawa's got to know that he can just play on his back foot, save his Ghost Walk for critical situations, and get this 2-0 win in the round.
That's a very good point, and man, that's even if Noctis is able to equalize and get to that 3rd champ, that Doom guy is still just very difficult to deal with. Generally, such a I think is probably the best all-rounded sort of champion that we have in the game at the moment. Pretty much do everything, good stack, good movement options, very good ability, which you can use to escape and also to do a huge amount of damage to close down distance. An amazing pick for Jewel, to be honest.
If I'm in Pikawa's position right now, all I'm thinking is just keep good position and force Noctis to come into me and make that great play, right? Because he has to push, I don't have to. So I'm just going to keep dominant position and make Noctis make something amazing happen. It's very difficult to do at this level when you're pushing into somebody so skilled.
And Pikawa, like there, he pushed out quite far towards rail, whilst the big Mega was spawning. The Mega, it is rather large. It was spawning. He pushed out. He went very aggressive, got a rail connection, and that really put Noctis in a spot where that just killed like 30 seconds right there. Just that one rail, Noctis having to reset the situation. Also, it makes it harder for him to read Pikawa's position when he pushes out really far. If Pikawa just sits on the item, hits a defensive rail, well, still Noctis now has a better understanding of still where he's going to be. So Pikawa is still really playing this well. But there's the drop that Noctis needs. Gets a rocket, but it's not all that perfect. Only 50 damage. Really have loved some more. Good rail, but it's traded there. And Pikawa, he's going to be able to play that plus back game to perfection to close down the round.
Yeah, that's just a prime example. Noctis had to make something happen, and you take that risk. I mean, you can't blame Noctis for doing it. I mean, he knew the time was running out. But good play by Pikawa. Some great ambushes from the Ghost Walk. Excellent LG work, and just took good position at the end and made Noctis make a mistake.
Yeah, I absolutely love how... Oh, and they're switching up the champion picks here, trying to anticipate one another. Obviously, we get a potential counter in the Sorlag coming in there. Perhaps trying to anticipate a champion pick. But we have the Doom guy as a start here for Pikawa, so this will be very different.
And Noctis definitely needs some armor here. Sorlag is just so much, she's lightning gun bait. So if you don't have any armor or stack, I mean, you're just gonna get annihilated.
And that is what happened in the previous round as well. Had to find those awesome LG engagements against Noctis and his Sorlag, and Noctis able to survive that potentially dangerous position, quite exposed as he picked up the heavy, but Pikawa didn't get too much damage, and we can see that Noctis is going to find himself in position here to get that LG, and also being a spot to challenge here for this Mega, up the jump pad perhaps, or maybe not. He does realize his opponent is above him.
Yeah, you don't want to do that at this level. You will get lined up, whether with an mid-air rocket, shotgun to the face, lightning gun, pin you against the wall.
A variety of options.
Yeah, a variety of options.
You're essentially a pinata.
Yep.
Well,
Play Noctis is going to be waiting. Yeah, he's good control right now. But Doom guy is not exactly small on a stack, so who's going to get the initial, that good ambush shot?
Oh, Noctis pushing the issue. Pikawa, though, defensive LG looking not too bad, actually, holding the choke point there. Again, Noctis not too confident to push forwards through them. Again, it's very difficult. Again, you were mentioning the LG with the against Solag, but also choke points. You're so huge, you basically almost can't get through some of the doorways. So very hard to approach.
Yeah, he actually, Noctis did good at recognizing that he had shot that rail, so he could push in a little bit, but once the rail got switched, you could see he backed off.
And you see Pikawa really wants to push the issue towards this heavy, but Noctis is doing some very good defensive damage here. Able to collect the heavy, do a lot. In fact, wow, Pikawa's very, very low. Noctis surely realizes this, and that's Pikawa unable to challenge for the Mega. He's going to try to escape here. Noctis actually gives up position on the Mega to anticipate the movement, and he does so absolutely perfectly. That's very intelligent play there from Noctis.
That's just classic Quake fundamentals 101. You know, the opponent's expecting you to run the item, and when you redirect like that and make a read, they usually don't see it coming. So that's just a great play by Noctis. Very intelligent. I love the non-hesitation. You can see it wasn't even a decision to him. He knew.
And now he's actually, I think, in a great position, because how is Slash going to sort of get in on Noctis? If Noctis plays a very, very defensive game, plays a good zoning game, oh, well, there it is. Slash going straight in. That's a beautiful dive there. That's exactly what you have to do, I guess. And Noctis knew that was Pikawa's only option, but it just goes to show how strong it is. If you've got some good movement with Slash, you can get in.
And I thought it was good recognition by Pikawa. Noctis really didn't have a lot of room to maneuver, you know, because in that RL hallway and towards bridge. So he just came in. It was good calculated aggression. It was a risk, but it definitely paid off.
And the trade there, I mean, that's not going to be too amazing here for either player. Putting it down to the Knicks versus the Knicks, and with a couple minutes remaining, it's going to be really interesting to see how this one plays out. This match has been really interesting for me so far, because I feel like both players are trying to play very intelligently, and they're not really trying to play thinking only about, I just want to get a fight and just kill you. I don't even really care, like, what, you know, champion I start with and what I'm playing against. It's a battle of the minds. Yeah,
it's definitely a very back and forth right now early on. It seemed like Noctis was just, you know, based on the first round, you think, oh, it looks like Noctis is going to do very well. But now Pikawa's come back very nicely. It looks like he's starting to settle in and get some of his own confidence going.
Yeah, it's absolutely looking like that. I was a bit worried for him at the start, but he'll be holding on to the rocket launcher position here. Again, it's a strong spot. Obviously, it's very hard to approach through, unless you do have that movement option like we saw previously with Pikawa and Slash. But he will be able to zone Noctis away from heavy. That's the collection there for him. The Mega spawning soon. There's plenty of time for Pikawa to get there, but that rocket, the second rocket as well, just a bit of extra chip there. Almost 100 damage, and that's exactly what Noctis needed to be able to pick up that Mega, and almost a rail, but how does he miss it? And how does Pikawa get the 180 connection? Beautiful stuff there. And that's going to be the 2-1. Wow.
Yeah, he just knew Noctis was going to come and be aggressive with him coming up the jump pad, placed a beautiful rocket there at his feet, and followed it up with a great rail. And Noctis didn't land a shot of his own, but I honestly don't think it would have mattered if Noctis hit a shot based on what Pikawa just did. So, great combination.
And I love that we saw the replay of the Slash play there from Pikawa, because that was a really, really tough spot. And as you said, he recognized the corridor, perfect opportunity, and he went for it. His instinct paying off, and now Noctis back on the Solag, gets popped up, and he has no health. Easy finish for Pikawa. Now this is where perhaps, you know, Noctis is on the back foot. Perhaps, you know, he may feel like he got a bit unfortunate here or there. I'm looking to see how well he holds his nerve here today. Yeah,
exactly. There's definitely been a momentum shift in this game. Pikawa's really starting to take control. So Noctis is, again, he's got to kind of mentally calm himself down and try to make an adjustment, try to make some better reads on him. I was a little surprised, even though he came in with Slash, I felt, you know, Noctis could have been a little more ready for that. He should have recognized that, hey, this is what he's going to try to do. But yeah, you got to give credit to Pikawa for playing a great game so far.
And credit to Rel for that drive-by Rel. I think he wanted to commit to the fight after that Rel. He took one in exchange, though. I don't think he expected to do that. And that's going to essentially just diffuse the push entirely, as Noctis now just looking to see whether or not Pikawa is going to, you know, go for the cross here. But he sees he's on the Mega, looking for those rails, has the teleporter, the pillars to play off of to try to make sure that he's safe from getting hit. And still Pikawa unable to connect much, and Noctis still on that high ground, still controlling the major items, just needs that next Mega.
That was good area denial by Noctis, taking good position. You could tell, ooh, nice rockets. But Pikawa didn't want to take any risks by running. He could have had time to run a heavy armor, but Noctis had good positioning. He just didn't want to risk it.
And this is really cool. There's two options here for Noctis. He goes for the item, he goes for the pursuit. He's going to go for the frag, and this might not pay off. The Berserk comes in. Wow, that's very close. He has to pop his Berserk as well. I think he absolutely wanted to avoid that, and he's very weak here. darting for the Mega. The rail's out here. Noctis taking a very smart position, going down through the pillars so that he doesn't go for the cross and doesn't get railed. But that was close.
Yeah, I agree. Much closer than Noctis one. I bet you he wants a few of those rocket shots back.
I thought he was going to go for the Mega and play the slow game, but he actually went for the frag, and it almost backfired on him massively. But he's now stabilized as well. He's got good position. You hear the jump pad. Will he read this? Looks like he's going to spot the play, but the connection of the rail might make things a little bit tricky here for Noctis. If he takes one more rail, you've got to be careful when you drop in here. Oh, man. Noctis able to avoid all the damage.
Yeah, hanging in the air. It's when you jump in Quake and it just seems like you're in the air forever.
Yeah.
When you see somebody with a railgun, you're like, please let me land.
So much, it just feels so tense, doesn't it?
We saw some plays yesterday too where people get shot and they go back down the jump pad. It's like, oh, I know that feeling.
Do you remember the fatality thing where I forget who? Actually, I think 04 was just pummeling him back onto the jump pad on this map. But we'll come back to that historic moment as Pikawa gets himself a lovely combo, or rather, sorry, Noctis does onto Pikawa, and now that's going to put Noctis in a really good position. There's 2 minutes remaining. He's got the Doom guy, and somehow Pikawa has to close the distance and get the frag. That's going to be really hard, especially with that Berserk that can be used defensively.
Noctis smells blood. He's really putting the pressure on. That was a great play when he did come out of the teleporter there. Landed some great rockets and then the fall-away rail to take the 2-1 lead.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
It's even the suicide. I love that. There's nothing better than a point-blank buckshot. That is so satisfying.
Yeah, he came around the corner and just ate the buckshot and looked like he blew himself up. He tried to shoot the rocket right after the buckshot. So good comeback by Noctis. We're all tied up here going into the last round. It's hard to say who has command right now. It's really going back and forth.
Absolutely, and it's quite cool actually that we see those Quake 1 enemies just floating around there. I think the Scrags?
Scrags.
I think Scrags, right? And that's awesome. I hope to see Shamblers, like caged to Shamblers or something on maps. That'd be sick. Let's please have that its offer. Get the Shamblers on the map.
Now, I find it interesting, you know, Pikawa is going back to Doomslayer's first pick because he had so much success with Nyx as the first pick. And
ooh. That's it, just a straight up rail duel, man.
Yeah, but Noctis had the better. Ooh, he's in trouble.
He did, you're right.
Yeah, better. You don't want to be sitting there at the Mega Health. You just have nowhere to go. You're very exposed on those pillars.
Yeah, it's even if you exchange damage, you still have way worse positioning on the rest of the map.
Exactly.
So your opponent has all the priority on everything, all the decisions to make, and you're immediately on the back foot. You do not want to trade even there. And Noctis is looking for the finishing blows. He's shown that he really is just very confident in going for the aggressive option when he has other decisions he could make more defensively, try to play the long term. He actually just goes aggressive, wants to close down the kills, and that just shows you the confidence in his own fighting abilities. I
think it's smart. I think taking advantage of fragging opportunities in Quake Champions is paramount. You have to get the frags when you can get them. So,
oh, that was so nice, Noctis. Great rockets there. That is so beautiful. I have to say, I mean, we have played this map for many years, and as you said, it's slightly different. There's been some updates, but it is essentially the same layout, and I just love to see rockets connected like that. Beautiful prediction rockets.
Yeah, Noctis his rail's actually really hot right now. He's been landing that good setup railgun and then moving in for the kill. But I agree, the rockets, he read his opponent beautifully, knowing he's going to try to escape through lightning gun, and just the placement on them. You know, because it's easy to shoot them short when people are running away. So he just placed them great.
So there's something incredibly satisfying about prediction rockets, and it's one of the things that really makes Quake. Pikawa in a really desperate position here. Noctis, as you say, he's really turned up the heat, especially with those rails, and the confidence of this Sorlag is just a walking kind of wall of meat. Just trying to just fight against that is really difficult, especially considering Noctis is doing so well on the damage game, and now the Ghost Walk's popped, and this is a very committed, exposed position. There's no way out if Noctis chooses to fight, but fortunately enough for Pikawa, he managed to do enough damage to convince Noctis to leave.
Yeah, the fall-away rail was Noctis's clue to get the heck out of there. So, yeah, good play by Pikawa. Oh, man, again, Noctis with just the nice read and the rocket waiting for him.
And it's good. I mean, Noctis has the champion advantage. He's taking the defensive options. It makes a lot of sense. And now he's got good position again on the heavy.
Yeah,
great position for Sorlag as well with the spit.
Great movement to get there.
I love the Scrags, man, just flying around. When are they going to get involved? Yeah, I wonder if you can shoot them. I imagine you must be able to shoot them. What if they turn around and start shooting back? That's what that's what I worry about. But right now, Noctis is looking at a Pikawa that hasn't been shooting back much at him in this round, as he's going to press the issue once again. We saw this at the start of this round. Noctis just putting the rails in, can't connect this time, but there's a Mega picked up. Maybe opportunity for Pikawa, but time is running low.
Yeah, some fancy footwork there by Pikawa to avoid damage, to grab the Mega Health and get out. So he has a chance to make a push here, but he has to make it happen fast with only a minute and a half to go. My philosophy is you don't want to be behind less than 45 seconds left, and that's already like really kind of close.
Yeah, man, that's pretty tight, right? That's just definitely desperation mode. Pikawa, though, he's in a pretty precarious position because Noctis is going to cut him off here. Where does he go? Good damage there from Noctis. He knows that if he wanted to, he could close down the frag. Beautiful rail off the jump pad, but Noctis will finish it off, and simply there was just not enough that Pikawa could do. Great play from Noctis. I love that we saw after the intelligent start from both players starting to feel each other out, trying to outbrain one another, that we had that back and forth fight. We get Noctis with a round, Pikawa with a round. We get the anticipatory sort of first picks. Okay, you've been running this at the start. I'm going to try to counter you with the Sorlout pick. Okay, that's not working out now. You've gone to the next. I'm going to go for the Doom guy. Beautiful game, actually, between these two players.
I thought I was very impressed by both players. Pikawa can definitely take some things from that game. I think just make the adjustments, try to do some better on the reading. I think he needs to listen maybe a little bit more, slow it down a little bit. He got caught over here at pillars a couple times, out in the open, allowing Noctis to get that chip damage on him, and then, you know, Noctis would go in and chase him down. But to credit Noctis, I really like how he can recognize when he has an opponent critical or in a bad spot. You see he'll leave that item up and he'll go and cut off the map instead, which is a very smart play, and it worked out for him several times.
Absolutely, and that's really interesting too, because now maybe it depends on how far Pikawa wants to think about it, because sometimes you don't want to overthink things too much, but obviously there are some clues as to Noctis' play style now for Pikawa moving forward on the maps. But again, it's something that you always want to start out, I think, as they did, where, okay, we're going to play it super slow, we're going to set up some traps, we're going to sort of split items, almost like a gentleman's agreement, and slowly work ourselves into all the weapons, and then once we have some positioning, okay, now we're fighting, we're exchanging damage, we're trying to play position. It's a very gradual, slow process, as opposed to just getting in, which is what we started to see as the players were getting more confident with reads and also more confident with the positions around the map. And that first frag as well, it's just so important.
One of the things I think Pikawa could do in regard to how Noctis is playing, because Noctis is choosing to cut off the map fairly often, just slow play it a little bit, maybe, start walking, double back, go back to the Mega Health, go back to the Heavy Armor, because he's leaving them up. So it's always a risk when you make that play, because in Quake, are you going to run the item, or are you going to try to cut off the map, but now the item's up, and if you miscalculate your read and cut off the wrong part of the map, your opponent's going to go grab the item, and all the damage you did was for naught.
And I guess it's also something where, like, one of you have to weigh it up as insofar as also, does Pikawa feel like Noctis is a bad matchup for him? Does he feel like he's the underdog? Does he feel like he needs to take bigger risks? Or maybe there's going to be some spots where he has the advantage to sort of like take the hit if it's a bad, if it actually turns out bad. But right now, I really don't know who's going to take this series, because I feel like it really could go either way. Pikawa has impressed me because it does really feel like he's approaching this as a dueler. Because, of course, some players will approach this. There's nothing wrong with it, but they'll approach it as, maybe a TDM player, let's say.
Oh,
They just want to fight. That's all they care about. The mechanics, the fighting, and they're not trying to out-duel one another.
Yeah, the mental aspect of duel is really where it's at. That's why I was talking about the item timing and things. Everybody thinks, oh, you just time 30 seconds here, 30 seconds here, and you run between the items and you pick them up. It's like, yes, the very simple explanation is that's what you do, but you can build off of that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, all of a sudden, now I'm reading you, so I know you're going to be there every 30 seconds. I know you're going to take this route every time. Players at this level, you start doing that, they're going to lead you with those prediction rockets. They're going to line up some railguns, and you just can't do that. So you have to change up your game here and give them different looks.
Oh, absolutely. Well, it looks like we're about to get into the next map. This is going to be an awesome battle between two players that are definitely in one another's heads, and who is going to break first? That's the question to answer. Obviously, Noctis with the lead, Pikawa fighting back. Will Blood Run be the arena that will favor Pikawa getting back in the series?
Well, of course, because we know Noctis has never seen this map before.
Well, it's actually insane. Blood Run is... How old is it? I think it came out in like 99. It was actually a Quake 1 map, actually.
Yeah,
it's been around for a while.
It goes back to my day.
Yeah,
Which means it's old.
Your day. before the Bible.
Oh, man. Shots fired.
Right, we've got already some damage exchange here. So the Sorlag Open from Noctis does seem to be what he's found to be very comfortable. Sorlag is actually a pretty awesome pick on this map as well. So it's a good shout. And again, Doom Guy, just generally, it's a great way to play for every possibility.
I love when you can see the opponent with the X-ray through the wall, and you can see the read. And it's like, how does he know that's not wall hacks, folks. That's not wall hacks. That's ESP.
And it does make me wonder how, for so many years, we just didn't ever use this ever in spectating duel games. It's now that it's here, I don't understand how it worked before.
I know, right?
Like, what did you do? How did you cast games? And regardless, we'll get more challenges here with the rail, and the stacks are starting to whittle down here, but oh, that's a really important rail. That is going to put Noctis really low, and right now Noctis is not really favorable to take position on the map. Look how low he is. This is really a struggle, and Pikawa, he's not going for the pursuit. He wants to just get the items instead, it seems.
He wants to establish firm control. He knows Noctis after that is not going to challenge for any major item here until he gets his recovery. He's probably going to wait for that small armor again and then try to make something. But in the meantime, Pikawa is going to be fully stacked, and I expect him to try to get, that one more chip shot, ambush shot, and he's going to go in here.
And this is what you're talking about as well, like that. Blood Run is such a classic map for the mind games. Trying to understand how your opponent makes decisions as to, are you going to go through this exit or this exit? Because you can see right now with the X-ray that Noctis is essentially trapped in the nail gun room, which used to be the plasma gun room. And either you go LG or the upper level, or you go through onto the bridge. And it's that cat and mouse game that is really difficult to be consistent at.
Yeah, and again, these players are so smart; they will fool you, and they'll purposely make sounds and read it and misdirect you. So.
How did that mega slip? Was that a risk there? Was it Pikawa tried to just gamble? It looked like he was gambling.
Yeah, it's a little strange. He just let Noctis really back into this round.
Oh dear, that is a big connection. Now the tables have firmly flipped, something like that. I leave the table flipping to you.
Yeah, but but yeah, I thought that was a little error there, Pikawa, because he had both major items. I felt he should have established his position early and forced Noctis to move into him to try to take that mega. Put some damage. It's almost like I make a chess comparison. When somebody takes a piece from yours in chess, you always want to answer and take something back. You never want to give something unanswered away.
Yes.
Whether if they're picking up the mega, I want to hit them a little bit after that mega, or something like that, or you have to do something.
That is a really, really important concept. I love that you brought that up, but the combo, where's the combo? That is so desperately disappointing there for Pikawa, and he's going to take some acid in the face as well, and he's just barely going to be able to escape, and of course some of the ticks of the blood there will help to restore his health, but Noctis is lying in wait. The rail comes out, the connection's there. Can he get the finish? Yes, he can do what Pikawa could not, and that is follow up off of the first shot, and Noctis is now finally, after 3 minutes and 40 seconds, gained himself a champion advantage. Yeah,
Noctis in firm control. Unfortunately, Pikawa really had his opportunity when he knocked Noctis in the air. He just missed that critical rail. If he hit that shot, it's a whole different ball game after that. But great play by Noctis to get the kill there at the end. His rail has been really consistent, I think, this match.
Yeah, no, it absolutely has, and it is something that he can absolutely rely upon, but he doesn't. He tries to rely upon his brain, and he's going to actually find himself just an easy catch there, just the momentum of Sorlag, and against the Nyx with no Ghost Walk, stuck in a corridor with no momentum. And now the Ranger comes out.
And Noctis, I've always felt his rocket placement is excellent. It's I think one of the reasons why he's such a top player. And you can see it several times in this match. He's just laid beautiful rockets down.
I think you're absolutely right. And rocket play is, again, something that is just Quake, and there's just nothing quite like it. And being a good rocket player is all about being amazing in understanding how the in-fight works. Like when you're fighting around the geometry with your opponent, understanding how he's going to move and how you're going to place, how you're going to place those rockets.
Look at that rail again, very consistent. But going back to that last kill when you got out of the super nail gun room, the thing that made the placement so great, to go a little more detail on that, is because he cut off the escape of his opponent. So the first rocket that was placed is like, look, if you're going to go into that hallway, you're going to eat damage. So if Pikawa tried to dodge it, he's going to end up right in front of Noctis. Oh my gosh.
That was brutal, wasn't it?
Just brutal.
I mean, it was hard not to feel really bad for Pikawa there, just getting popped behind the jump pad, just suspended in the air. LG comes out. That's not a good look.
you're dead. You literally think I'm dead.
You know you're dead from the immediate moment, like when you get bounced. It's going to take a while, but you're going to die. And that's a horrible feeling. But Noctis, he's going ham right now.
Yeah.
Pikawa's not able to play defensively here.
No, he's really all over Pikawa. It seems like he's kind of reading him a little bit like a book right now. I mean, he was there in that super nail gun room, just ready to ambush. And that's a typical recovery point. A lot of people will retreat to that room because it is kind of defensible, but Noctis was having none of it.
Noctis, man, he's just a massive piece of meat just moving around at incredible speeds here, and it's just seemingly unstoppable.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. He's a stack. I mean, he has the mega health. I mean, he has the heavy armor. He's got a good arsenal. You know, he's got the trinity of Quake, you know, the rocket launcher, lightning gun, railgun, and his rails is just, again, prime example. His rails really consistent right now.
So I'm gonna reference DJ Wheat here and say that Noctis is stacked like a meat popsicle. He used to say that. I'm not sure if that was a reference to like Fifth Element or exactly where that came from.
Well, actually,
but
Meat Pops, that goes all the way back to the Clan Death Row days and D13 and Holy, and he was very, very popular for saying, he would used to use that line all the time. I'm just a meat popsicle.
Nice. Well, there you go. That's awesome. Well, he's not here with us, but he's here in spirit. Now, Noctis, he has taken some damage, and we're starting to see that Pikawa can play some kind of defense, which was the question for a while here. And he's, things have slowed down, but you can see Noctis going for the trap. He's going to hear the jumping, and that's a really good situation for Noctis. He doesn't get, of course, too much damage, but the reads are so smart here. He understands that. The read from his opponent is that he might just drop down for the Mega, but he holds. Very smart from Noctis. Yeah,
that's a common thing in Quake. Pikawa went back up the stairs. You pause for a minute, right? Make them think, oh, he snuck off. But Noctis just read the misdirect, I guess. Yeah. And it's just, he's really, like I said, I think he's in Pikawa's head a little bit right now. He seems to know what Pikawa wants to do, where he wants to go. And when you have that kind of mentality going, I mean, you're gonna win. That's the name of the game right there.
Absolutely, and it's even if it doesn't do too much damage, you're shutting your opponent down from his options, and that just feels frustrating for Pikawa. Like, what can he get going for himself? And it's a situation where, okay, Pikawa's going to survive, but he has a champion disadvantage. The time is running out, and Noctis just keeps pressuring him back, shutting down his options. And generally speaking, he's playing a wonderful duel.
Oh, there we go. That was a nice setup here. He has a chance here. That's not great. Oh, Noctis.
He does have the Dire Orb as well still, and he goes in for the frag, gets tagged by the Acid. This is very dangerous, and will Noctis be able to close it down? He's going to actually be able to use the Dire Orb for the pickup of the Heavy, as Noctis, as you say, he wasn't able to get the grab. Pikawa is very low here. One rail could make the difference, and there it is, down to 17 health, but the armor just barely keeping Pikawa alive again. But that's not good enough. He needs to be in control of the map.
He needs a frag. He needs a frag in like the next 15 seconds, and I don't think he can get it out. I mean, he's gonna have to make a big risk here. Oh, that'll help. He has to engage.
Well, Noctis, not quite the meat popsicle, but he will be cold as ice in this match of Blood Run. He made it look absolutely just so clean. What a performance there from him, and that's going to be Pikawa taken down. And this, in some respects, it's a little bit sad. This is just depressing. If you've ever been in that experience when you get a bad bounce, it's just so sad. Can't do anything. But yeah, it might be a bit sad there for Pikawa. I feel like he played some good duels here, but I think we saw on Blood Run, Noctis clearly the better dueler.
Yeah, I think we're seeing some experience shine through right now. Because Pikawa seems a little bit out of his element after such a good start on Blood Covenant. It just seems like he can't get anything going here, and I think you're right. It's so frustrating when you're just trying to recover, and then somebody gets you with that peak rail, and you're like, that just delayed me another 30 seconds. I can't do anything now.
It's there is this, there's so many like feels that you have to sort of have experienced it, and Blood Run has many of these like just very depressing moments in like historically, like you're describing, where it's like you're out of control and you're in this situation where you essentially get railed, and it takes you 5 minutes to stack back up, and then you get a bad fight, and it takes you 2 minutes to stack back up.
Blood Run to me is like an abusive spouse, It's like when things are good, they're okay, but when they're bad, they're really, really bad.
You can't help it, just keep coming back for more. Well, it's Noctis here in a commanding position, and Pikawa is completely against the wall at the moment.
He's stuck in the SNG room, the Super Nail Gun. I mean, because he's trying to recover all the time because Noctis keeps putting this pressure on him.
And it feels as though, like, obviously the soul lag is a really big issue for Pikawa. Pikawa's not being... I mean, one of the downsides potentially is that it's a massive model, so it's much easier to hit it, but at the same time, Noctis' damage output has been phenomenal, and you can just see it there. And no options, they're going for the tally. That's going to be a terrible idea, but maybe Pikawa's broken at the moment. Maybe he's just thinking, I don't know what to do here.
That was definitely a mental breakdown. I don't know why he would go through that teleporter. That's just, I hate to say the word, but it's a little bit of a rookie move. I mean,
he gave away the first kill. He could have just sat on the blood there, start healing up a little. You know,
at least make Noctis think a little bit, because you have the jump pad on the other side, or you can just try to run towards the Mega Health hallway, but you have options, so you gotta at least make Noctis think a little bit about it.
And even if you stand still, items are going to be coming up. Does Noctis want to push in, potentially risk losing items and position there? There's just a wealth of options, so that is not a good sign, but still, he's connecting some rails. Maybe he is going to go TDM mode. Maybe that's what is required here. Goes for the finish through the choke point there, but Noctis defending easily with rockets. I think that Noctis knows right now. I think he knows that there's blood in the water, and it's almost over for Pikawa.
Yeah, I definitely see the mentally breaking down of Pikawa. Even right there, pushing into the Super Nail Gun room. That's great.
Looks desperate.
Yeah, not great position. I mean, you don't really have a great retreat option into that hallway, especially with the guy who has rocket launcher. So yeah, but again, credit to Noctis for putting him in this position and making the plays he has. He's hitting some great rails. He's had great reads with his rockets. He's playing really solid.
Yeah, his basics are really tip-top at the moment, and that's really good to see. It's always so nice when you watch somebody that you can watch them play a duel and just see all of the duel fundamentals just coming out. Nothing really fancy, some good mind games, some good reads, taking risks at the right time, taking good positions, a good zoning game, good rocket placement, as you mentioned, as well as the rails, and just... That's a lot of things I just said. Noctis doing all of those incredibly well.
Yeah, he's really putting it together right now. I mean, if he plays like this all tournament long today, he's going to be a tough out.
And once again, Pikawa back in his house. I think he's taken up permanent residence in the nail gun room.
Yeah, that's not a good place to be.
The value's definitely dropping.
Yeah, it's not good.
Real estate.
You're giving up the whole map. Noctis is stacked. I mean, honestly, if Noctis really wanted to, he could just go in there and finish it right now.
Yeah. He is just going to be able to sit here, and there it is.
And
he knew Pikawa was going to come to him. That last round, it was just desperation, and it was a beautiful performance again.